The Portland is Home team talks real estate. Whether you live here or you're on your way, Audra and Andrew Galler work hard to welcome you home. They make the whole real estate process attainable, educational, and fun. After all, it is the biggest transaction of your life. The Portland is Home team talks real estate. I'm Michelle Odell, your host. And now, Audra and Andrew Galler.
Hi, Michelle.
Michelle, hello. I'd like to wish you a happy, in Portland, Oregon, January.
What does that mean?
Well, for our listening audience who may be suffering under a heat wave here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, we are enjoying, or not, the 975,000th day of intermittent rain. So I'm not complaining. I am just saying it's been consistent.
June gloom, we're calling it, because it's little, it's supposed to, by now it's supposed to be sunny and perfect.
Yeah.
But it's
My
not yet.
tomatoes would be, cooking away.
Historically, you don't plan outside activities in Portland until 4th of July, but every year I forget that. Last 2 years it hasn't, but this year, I haven't really used my sunscreen. My newly discovered outer reaches of my forehead have not had any risk of sunburn. So,
and you have to protect that. It's very important. For
yeah,
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
we're getting through it. It's going to be July right around the corner. It's June 16th right now. This will be published tomorrow, the 17th. We're going to, of course, have Andrew Galler's Market Minute. And we're also going to have some stories of triumph, things that have gone incredibly wrong. Not the Portland is Home team's fault, but it actually cleaning up messes that happened long before anyone knew who they were. And we're going to also talk about some of Andrew's negotiation style. That he has a couple stories about that. But first, Andrew, are you ready for your Market Minute? A lot has happened in the last couple of days, so people are going to be wondering, what is going on?
What is going on?
Help us, please.
Yeah, what's going on?
It's Andrew Galler's Market Minute.
So, Market Minute, what a rush. The market has shifted. In episodes prior to this, we were talking about how put a sign in the yard, turn around 3 times, whammo. There'll be a pile of firstborns and lots of wonderful offers. That day has come to a crashing halt. It's over. Your problem homes, just keep them now. We'll help you. We can fix them up for market and make them showcase ready, but the easy sell is no longer, it seems, as of right now. Now, let's put a little context in this. 2-3 weeks ago, I think we were talking about how interest rates had gone from 5.25 to 5.325 to they dipped to 5%. And then last week, we just had a client get quoted a interest rate of 6.16. So that's a ridiculously large climb in a very short amount of time. I'm sure we're all reading the newspapers or avoiding listening to the news. I say newspapers like people are reading them these days. Okay, fine, whatever. Looking at them on some illuminated device. Okay. And interest rates have gone up an amazing amount. As we know, the inflation's crazy, right? The fuel prices, everything. We're in crazy town.
Goods. Mm-hmm.
We're seeing people's payments go up when they were at their top already. Right now, we are asking our buyers when they make a contract, when they write a contract or speak with their lender, call their lender, have their lender speak to them, to run the numbers. Is this the payment that's going to work for you with today's, not last week's? Let me tell you something. Interest rate. And for our sellers, we have to have a heart-to-heart with those buyers who are writing offers on our listings, lenders, and asking them point blank, have you run the numbers? Has your buyer seen this number today, not last week? Because time goes by fast, and you talk to your lender in normal times. You talk to your lender and you get a game plan, approved up to this payment. We're comfortable. Let's go ahead. We find something to that price. Okay. You know how much it's going to cost. Not if when you wake up, the interest rates have gone up a quarter, a half, or a full point. And the Fed just raised their basis point by a significant amount. I think 75 points. It's huge. Trying to combat inflation. They say the Federal Reserve is it's a one-trick pony. All they do is they've got the interest rates. Okay, I'm no economist, so listening audience, please correct me, whatever, inform us. Happy to chat about it. Call me today if you want to talk about the economy. Tell me what I have wrong or buy and sell a house. Okay, it's all good. Just call me. That's the macro view. In terms of some market minuting, I will tell you about Inner Portland Metro. If we compare month to date, I have statistics as current as June 15th. Today's the 16th. I can look at my little program that I pay a fortune for. It's current, up to yesterday. And as of yesterday, this June 1st through 15th versus last year's, we have 23.7% more homes on the market today than we did month to date June 2021. And the number of homes under contract, right, pending, is down 20%. 20% fewer homes under contract and almost 24% more homes available. So the delta between supply and demand has just diametrically opposed. Yeah, it's crazy. I tell you what. Closed sales are down 24%, but that's more of a lagging indicator, which still I think is significant and a big deal. In other news, in terms of same topic, different subject or vice versa, when you look at inventory, as I'm doing at this very moment, first 2 weeks of June this year versus last, there's 59% more inventory. So that went from 0.7 months, and this is based on closed sales, to 1.1 month. That is a large number, everyone. 1.1 month of inventory, though, is still historically incredibly low. Okay, fine. Based on pended sales, though, which is a slightly more of a leading indicator, inventory is up 64% from 0.6 month to 1 month. So 1 month is still very, very low. But in terms of super leading indicators, we listed a beautiful home that so far has had, except for the 2 open houses I've held, no one's come and seen it. And there's nothing wrong with this home. It's beautiful. It's not overpriced relative to recent solds. In fact, it's less. But with interest rates having shot up, every pool of buyers has shrunk by, I don't know the percentage, but a lot. And when I say pool of buyers, what I mean is just to revisit the same thing. We've talked about this more than once. You, me, and everyone walking the earth, we got this thing I'll call a housing budget, right? It's how much you want to spend each month to live somewhere. And when you go, I think that's the constant. And the variables are price and interest rate. That's what constitutes your payment. So when you look at all that, the price might not change, but the payment sure as heck is going to. If it goes up from 5% to 6 or over 6, so everybody who could afford whatever price now is going to afford a lower price. A lot less house. So that's really the market minute, is that we're in a huge state of flux, and I'll be interested to see how this plays out, although I think we've got some good, reliable predictions, I think, for buyers. It's multifaceted in that everybody who is waiting for the market to slow down, well, guess what? It's slow down market o'clock all of a sudden, okay? There. But you're not going to want to buy anything because now it's going to cost too much and you're not going to get the house you want because the payment changed. And every seller we were talking to, it's so weird, I think, that we all believe the current state of affairs will last forever.
Yeah.
Like
True. What's ever right in front of you is what's happening, but we have to look beyond that. And that's your job. That's part of what you guys do, is looking beyond what's happening right this second to help people for the future.
So true.
Right?
So true. So I think that's one of the challenges, is that a few months ago, had anyone said, well, I could tell you, in January, I talked to all of our preferred lenders on a very regular basis and say, what's happening with interest rates? And they tell me, we chit chat, how are the kids, blah, 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 how's the market? And in January, interest rates were around 3.11%. I remember this kind of vividly. And we all talked about how we thought it'd probably go to 4%. They're not going to try to throttle the economy. And that was before all of the world events that brought inflation roaring to the highest interest rates spike in 40 years. And I don't think that barge had gotten stuck in the Suez Canal yet. There hadn't been an invasion of a European country. So many things, right? So all of this, the supply of grain and fuel hadn't yet been disrupted, and everything else. And you know what? Okay, 4%. That's awful. That's terrible. Wow. I hope life will go on. Right now it's 6.
It's still better than 22, like it was 40 years ago.
Well, so much better than 22. But if we take Albert Einstein's theory of relativity and apply it to real estate, it's so much more than 2.65%, which it was a year ago. And homes have appreciated 20% in that about that amount of time, and now I think the appreciation is going to come to a screeching halt, or at least go down to a normal level of 3 to 5%. And that's my market minute.
And how many people have stopped trying or taking a break from looking at buying right now? Or are they just hanging in there and just hoping for the best?
I think that where we are now with our clients is that the group of buyers we have right now have been looking for a little while, and so they're still in it. I think there's a lot of people taking a break for a lot of different reasons. I think that it's a very, quotation mark fingers, interesting time in that right now, second week of June, there's we're going into a holiday weekend. So that's one thing. And the weather's breaking here for the first time in a long time. So even if the weather weren't breaking, this is the first season we all have been able to go on a vacation and over, this is the third summer now of this pandemic. So no one's left town. I know there's a lot of exceptions. I know some of y'all have, right? But by and large, families, a lot of them are going on their first trips, if Facebook's any indication. And and graduations. There hasn't been a real deal graduation in 2 years. So there's all this stuff taking up people's. I remember last year and the year before complaining about I can't leave my house. Oh no, I have to sit around and relax after work and there's nothing to do. I can't run my kids around nonstop. Well, that's over. And now we're running the kids around again, and no more baking bread for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who's got time for that?
That's good.
It's good.
You were sick of it.
Well, it's just, I was sick of that, and now I'm sick of driving around so much. So what are you going to do?
Yeah,
I don't like going to the gas station.
I am glad you got a haircut, though, because at one point there was Grizzly Adams going on with you.
Yeah, I was getting all biblical up in that, all Methuselah. So I think that there is some seasonal stuff going on, and then with the interest rates, there's that, and that's what I think.
That's what's going on. All right, now let's talk about some stories of triumph. What are some things, and I know, Audra, especially with the design leg of your business, that you have to put a lot of fires out, things that you don't start, but you have to be the one to get the hose and whatever to put the fires out. Tell us about some of the things that you do to help your clients.
It's so interesting because we have talked to people and they'll say, oh, remember that time that, this didn't happen. And then you made this thing happen and you fixed this for us. And it's so hard because I actually don't remember a lot of them. I just like, you get it done and then you move on. And we don't think about it a lot, or I don't personally think about it a lot because it's just part of the day. It's part of what we do. We don't put a lot of, weight into it. But this week alone has been really interesting. We just have a lot going on because we have a queue of homes waiting to get painted on the exterior, and they just keep piling up, and Mother Nature is not going to bring the sun out, and we need 3 days so that it doesn't ruin the paint, and we haven't had that, and the houses keep piling up, and not everybody's frustrated, but I think we're a little frustrated because we want to get these things off of our plate. Mm-hmm. The painters are frustrated because they've had to, this is their usual busy season, and now they've had to turn their gears to get different interior jobs. It's a juggle. Oh, hey, can I do yours now? Oh, I'm not ready, but okay. It's like all this logistic scheduling on, getting all this done. But recently we have a bunch of homes that are getting ready to come on the market. And for those of you who listen and those of you who are first timers, we do a lot of listing prep. We manage an entire production to get your home ready for the market. So you give us a budget, we take that budget, and then we go over circles of priority and the things we feel are must do's. Then we have a middle tier of these would be great. And then we have a final tier of, and if we can make this, this is. And then we talk a lot about, how much it's going to cost and how much you're going to reap in the benefit on the back end, whether it's just faster sell, more money. So we have a house, we have a couple houses. We're trying to get them up on the market. And it's like every single day we turn around with this swath of homes right now. There's something else that has popped up. It has nothing to do with anything we've done. It's like we get the interior painted on this home. We're waiting on the exterior. We get the staging in. We do the photos. Photographer goes downstairs. Basement's flooded. Why is the basement flooded? Like, what happened? It was just dry. Wow. Turns out, this basement has a tendency to flood. They're disclosing it. But we have to do something about that because you can't sell a house with an actively flooded basement. Mm-hmm. So we have to switch our gears. And now we have to try to figure out what is the cause of it, what's wrong. And then something else came up. They're on what's called a party line. The city years ago said everyone needs to get off these party lines.
But let me just jump in and say,
Andrew. Yes, please.
Well, party line sounds like fun.
It does.
But I don't think
only it isn't.
It's party for poop.
So I was going to say it's a fecal madness. Tell me about what is a party line? Is it what I think it is, that you all
not what you think?
Share the same?
Yeah, okay, then it is what you think it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
people share the same line then, the same poop
all
line.
of the houses kind of come to a connection, and then they together, hand in hand, go out to the main city line. And so the city of Portland here wants everyone off of these. They were pretty common. I mean, we run into them quite often. And almost every time you try to sell a house with those, the buyer wants you to get it off. And the city actually wants you to get it off. And most people have received letters and correspondence saying you have until this date to remove off the party line, or we'll do it for you. And and the city charges are super low. I'm totally kidding. They are the highest rates that you can find. It's like they say, "Oh, that's a great bid. Who could do higher? Who could make this bid even twice as much?" So that's the bid you're going to get if you don't fix it. So it's the same thing with the sidewalks. They give you a bid and they're like, "Oh my God, one little square is like $5,000 in the city." But anyway, so we've got that going on. And so we have had to, flip it and reverse it, as Andrew says, and figure out with this client how to resolve this issue in their basement with maintaining everything else that we're doing upstairs and keeping it all moving toward the finish line. Another one recently that we thought easy. This is easy. This house is tight. The basement was remodeled. This house looks fantastic. Easy. Paint one bedroom, stage the house, get it up on the market. It'll be about a week. Mm-hmm. And we get a call. Something's backed up in the basement in the drain. Oh, you're kidding.
Something.
So
I don't like that word.
So we have a few folks in our pocket that will pretty much, we're really, we're always just beside ourselves, humble that they will drop everything and figure out things, help us figure out things for us. And we have a plumber who we've worked with for years, and he'll whatever. He's like, next day I'll be there. I'll, do a clean out over here. I'll do this. I'll do that. He is phenomenal. He's just one of those people in our network that only does this for us. Mm-hmm. And we're so lucky, that we have these people that can turn around things very quickly for us. So they tried to scope the line, couldn't get a camera in. So our plumber went out, put a clean out in on a 2-inch line, which is the drain line. So it's the drain line for the kitchen disposal and then the washing machine. And turns out the pipe, they remodeled this entire basement with tile floor and beautiful. And we have to jackhammer that sucker out of there and put a new pipe in.
Oh, no.
So that list date is moved out.
Oh, my gosh.
And, when we sit there and we talk about it, like, well, can we just disclose it and give them some money? And, and it's one of those things, though, that it's like, you some of these things you just have to fix. Like, you just have to deal with this. It's not a fixer. This is a house that it's a beautiful home, and we just have to fix it. And so anyway, so we're pulling in, we're running. And in fact, the plumber that we have sent it to the main GC at their firm to overlook the other bids to see if they were good numbers and what we needed to change. And so we've got some people that have our backs, which we really, it's really helpful.
The deal with the fixing or not is that this just goes into the thing in life about we're going to pay for everything. And we can either pay to bring a home on the market in showcase ready condition, or our sellers are going to have to pay in a reduction of price and longer time on market till we find the right buyer who's really willing to weather a home that has an issue that's known. And there's not a lot of buyers who want to accept that, especially as the market slows, when there will be other options. And so I think those are some of the decision tree choices.
What was the story about? If you have one, go ahead and
I was going to talk about the countertops. That's another big one that hit this week.
I want to hear about the countertops. It sounds like a nightmare. I love the nightmare stories because everything's fine in my house right now. So I'm like, tell me about the terrible stuff.
So what happened was we have some sellers who they're moving out of state, and they don't know exactly when they're moving. So it's a little bit of a moving target. And the reason I bring that up is one of the things, if you are listing your home and it's going to be listed and possibly close within 30, 60 days, we have a program called Loan to List, and we pay for everything up front, and then we take the money back out of your proceeds. So you have to have the proceeds in your home, and then we can do this. So the reason I bring this up is because these are folks that are looking maybe out 6 months to a year, and they're not even sure. And so, but they have really dated countertops. And we talked about things that they could do in their home that would increase the desirability of it and increase, the money perhaps. And so it's a few things like refinish the hardwood floors, paint. There was an active leak that we helped them fix out of their jetted tub, little things like that. And then they have these kitchen counters, and they said, would it be, yes, of course, nice slab quartz would be better. But, this is fine. And they said, well, if we're going to put that in, we want to enjoy it too for a little bit. So when it's that program, we don't cover that up front because it's just a remodel choice. We're not listing your home right now. So I got all, met and picked out countertops and, yada, yada, yada. And they get the bid, and they, for some reason, decide they don't pay the bid. And the company calls and emails and texts them and say, we need to pay, we need to pay, we need to pay. You need to pay, or you're not going to, this quote is only good for 30 days.
That's right.
So on day 40, they decide to call in, and the company's like, yeah, it's $500 more now. Because everything is going up. Like Andrew was saying, it's not just gas, it's everything.
Exactly.
Everything. In fact, I was at Costco, and the vanilla extract doubled in price. And I said because I couldn't find it, so I asked somebody to help me, and he said, oh, and just a forewarning, it's doubled in price. My wife has reminded me of that multiple times when I had to buy it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so everything is going up. So of course they're super upset because it's more expensive now. So because I care about my clients and I care that they end up happy at the end, I spend a day and a half calling around trying to find anywhere who will take my drawings and give me a bid that's back to the original price. And it was a lot of work. And but I found somebody. So I sent it over and I said, I got you somebody and they're going to match your original bid. And believe me, this will probably go up if you do not book this right away. Like, I've got this like set for you. And of course they said again. And I said, if you guys aren't going to do this, that's okay. Let's just stop. No. We're going to do it. We'll call. So I finally got the call today that they paid for it. Okay. And we're good to go. But the amount of work that we do put in, our assistant the other day, I was scrubbing a floor that got super dirty. We had the floors refinished and we had it painted and we had a bunch of work done and the floors were dirty and the stagers were showing up and I was there vacuuming, mopping the floor, cleaning everything up, doing all this work. I was helping paint because the painter was running behind. And so I got in there, I got my sweatpants on and I took a paintbrush and I started painting. You know, it was just all this stuff to get it done. I sanded a banister, like I was doing everything. And she said, I don't even think, because you never say anything, I don't even think they know how much you're investing your time in all of this. And so those are just some of my ones in the last week of things that are, just all over the board.
Well, when we said we wanted a slab for our new shower, a marble slab, you spent many hours, because I remember when you first told me you were going to start looking, and then when you finally told me you found something, like 8 hours had gone by, and you said you called 30 people to see if you could find a good price, so you didn't go out of our budget, and give us what we wanted. That's the type of thing you do. That's what you do. That's why you hire you.
Well, thank you. But for yours, it was interesting because what I had to do is find a remnant that was big enough in the specific
Midnight Corvo,
and find a slab that had a perfect pattern that was on it. And it's like, well, whatever, you made a phone. No, I didn't. I made like 30 phone calls to all the slab companies to see who had a remnant sitting in their back areas. I mean, it's just so thrilling when you can find something like that. It is so exciting to be able to call back and say, I found a slab, it's the right thing, and it's got the right pattern left on it. And I mean, that's a win all day long. And we love when our clients win. That makes us so happy.
What Audra does in those moments is we call that heroing. When you hero.
Yes.
She's a big hero. Exactly no one knows this about her, but we've got this cape for the heroing.
It's not true. So those are mine. Andrew, I tell people this all the time. The way you negotiate, to me, is the best way to negotiate, because you have figured out a way to get your clients what they want, but yet have the other party feel like they won too. That's a skill. Like, they both come away feeling like they won. Yeah. But you got what you wanted for your clients. And I find that incredibly impressive. Your reviews are off the charts. And I think that that's just pretty phenomenal. So what are some of your recently charged or kind of crazy events?
Yeah. Tell us about your cape wearing. How about that?
I really don't like tooting my own horn, but if I must...
Toot toot.
No, I don't know. All my stories are really long, and there's real estate stories. Someone call me, I'll tell you something personal. But hey, I was telling, when we were getting ready to start recording this, I was telling Michelle that I've got 2 different methodologies of negotiating. There's aggressive and passive aggressive. So
it's the way of the
those
West.
Are the 2 modes.
Passive aggressor.
Yeah.
Don't come out and say something. Let's just sort of insinuate and make you feel uncomfortable and guilt you out about it.
That's what I learned from my childhood.
East Coast, they just say, get off my lawn. Yeah. Around here, they're like, well, you're kind of on my lawn right now, and we have to think about that. So tell us.
Or they'll say like, oh, don't worry, I'll go fix my lawn that you ruined over there. I'm sure you're too busy.
Exactly.
Because it looks like you work a lot of hours, which is why you're on my lawn.
Exactly. So let's talk about some of this aggression negotiation.
Well, look,
I like
at
that.
the end of the day, what we're here to do is help people achieve their goals.
Mm-hmm.
And really, that's what it's about. People say win-win. Let's do a win-win. And, obviously that's not what we're hired to do. We're hired to just get a win. The other win, whatever, take it, leave it, win, lose on that side. But win over here, win. I'm down for a win. I don't like the negotiating tactic of ending up on the 50-yard line. You say this, I go that way, blah, 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 boom, right in the middle. No, I'd much rather end up now. Some of you may know this about me. I know very little about sports. So here's the whole long and short of it. I want to end up in our end zone or their end zone, whichever one's the scoring one, right? That's what I want. There we go. I got it. So that's what we're gunning for. But really, above and beyond that, and if I take my tongue out of my cheek, what we're really looking for is to increase the odds our people get everything they want. And that's how we focus our energy, is to increase the odds that is the end of each story. So when you keep that in mind, it's not all that. What we like to think about this job that we have is it's a very simple but not easy process. And by simple, I mean, look, we're just trying to help people buy and sell homes. And that's simple. It's not easy because we have to navigate their lives, the lives of the other party, and the personalities of the other agent, and all of it. So that's kind of the thing. And so when negotiating, what we try to do is just frame it in that context that often when I'm representing buyers, people will want to talk about like the repair addendum. Going through that negotiation is a really good example because the deal's already locked up. Now it will either stay together or come apart. Sellers, of course, think their property's phenomenal, and usually they're right. And they will downplay any thing wrong because they've lived with it and their lives are okay. So why shouldn't somebody else? What's the big deal? And of course, buyers are like, I'm paying all the money I have for this house and doggone it, it should be okay. Shouldn't be wrong. It should be right. And so it's threading that needle and keeping those people together. For the sellers, when I'm negotiating on the buyer's behalf, often after the other agent and I do our jobs and make our cases about why we should get what we want, then I usually end it with, look, we can go out for drinks and debate this all night long. But at the end of the day, I really believe most times that if this comes apart, if I say to the other agent, if you and I can't keep these people together, I think your people will end up with less money if they have to go back on the market. And that's never been more true than right now. But even when the market was very active, I think that was true. So it's really just about, I think my hero move is really just trying to keep the focus where it needs to be, which is on pursuing our clients' goals.
I know Andrew will, hey, this lender is not returning your phone calls and not doing, I know he's on the phone immediately trying to figure out another lender.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you,
That'd be tough.
while Audra we were having design talk, I was doing some quick math. And like we discussed, interest rates have gone up 3% in the last 6 months. And what's interesting about it, or harrowing really, is that a $3,000 monthly mortgage at 3.125%, 3.25%, that would have gotten you an $800,000 house with 20% down. Okay, so in the beginning of the year or last December, could have gotten an $800,000 house with a $3,000 payment monthly with 20% down. Today, with interest rates at about 6.25%, that $300,000 payment will get you a house of only $570 at 20% down. And so, God. So that's really kind of putting, we've talked about the 10-to-1 rule, right? Every 1% interest rates go up, your purchasing power erodes 10%. And, to keep the payment the same. So that's kind of the reality of this moment is
that's nuts.
It's nuts. And that's this thing. And that's just a totally different house, right? Totally different product. And right now we're in contract with some buyers who are experiencing this. We talked about this at the top of the show. And I've got buyers saying, well, why don't we just ask them to lower the price because my payment went up? which I'm happy to do. But when we've experienced this before, and we have in our career doing this a little more than 20 years, our experience has been that sellers don't move their prices in lockstep with interest rate rise. Because, I mean, just think about that. Nobody with an $800,000 house knowing what their neighbor sold for, last year, whatever, 2 years ago, frankly, 2-3 months ago, they're not going to drop their house. Or at least I would say that would be something if they did to move in lockstep with the rates.
Unless they had to.
Well, and it doesn't help either when your, pizza party costs you $100 for 3 pies and some breadsticks and a salad. I mean, never mind what I paid just to fill up my little car.
My sister-in-law with her little Leaf and her free charging station at the grocery store is very happy.
All right. Well, so that's some good news, some bad news, some stories of triumph where you really do a great job for people, especially when you got 20 years of experience. You two are the people to call. It's actually just not you two. It's many of you. You have a whole staff of people that help. You are working in Washington now.
We actually have 3 agents up in Washington, and they are superstars. They are some of the best agents I've ever met, and just solid, amazing, kind human beings who are also incredibly great agents, super organized. They got it together. They are killing it up there. And
if y'all need help in Washington,
they make us look good.
You'll have your pick of Tracy, Christy, Janelle. Boom.
Nice. Scott's
our assistant Scott, mad shout out. Just yesterday, we went out to lunch to commemorate his 2nd year with us.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Scott.
Well,
Very
so
cool.
grateful.
Very
Scott's a
nice.
superstar.
Yeah.
Couldn't do without him.
Yeah.
Very
And then while we're at it, we'll go, talk about Erica. She's the one she's the glue that keeps it all together.
She is the mortar that keeps it all together. She is fantastic. I mean, you'll see. If you work with these guys, you're going to see. You're going to talk to Erica.
Sean. We we're really lucky. We've got such an amazing team of rock stars who just,
help you do what you do.
Help make us look good. And
That's right. All right.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
So next episode, we're going to hopefully have another guest.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about what we're going to talk about next time.
So a very good friend of mine and colleague is the vice president at Miller Paint, and they helped us do our color line. And they have some things that we're going to bring her in. We're going to talk about color trends, fun projects that she's done, things that she's working on, and see where it takes us.
We can also discuss, too, what you recommend for people if they're getting ready to sell their house, and some color trends and things to stay away from. And that's just the whole aspect of how much a nice coat of paint can make an otherwise dingy looking house just look fantastic. So that'll be excellent.
Yeah.
Pooji from Miller Paint is going to be on with us next.
Vice president at Miller Paint.
And isn't summertime traditionally a time where you want to paint because it's dry and sunny and like we were talking about earlier? So this will be a great episode in the middle of the summertime. I love that.
I think so. I think it'll be good.
And in the meantime, everybody just relax. It's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay, everybody.
We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it.
I mean, how many cycles have you seen now over in your 20 years? You've seen many ups and downs.
So many.
Exactly. So it's just part of the game.
Another cycle, ebbs and flows.
That's right. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks for listening to the Portland is Home Team Talking Real Estate podcast. For more info about Audra and Andrew, finding your next home, or selling your current home, visit their Realty Works website at realtyworksgroup.com. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. For help with your podcast, find us at Modcast Productions or modcastproductions.com.